Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to everyone in FRO Expo Opportunity Seminar, where we help our prospective franchisees to know our industry leaders better and to evaluate the business opportunity after hearing from them directly. My name is Ashita Marya, and I'm the CEO of Franchise India, and I will help you to assess and unleash the risks and opportunities involved in the franchise opportunity today. Franchise India exhibitions from past 22 years have been providing a platform to thousands of investors to evaluate the franchise opportunities for themselves by coming face to face in 100+ shows nationwide. Going ahead in these times, we are doing the same activity virtually in helping our investors across the nation meet the franchisors online. Today we have with us Mr. Kevin Lewis, who's the CEO of Caremark International. I will tell you a bit about Kevin first. With 30 years of experience in the care industry, including 27 years starting and developing into UK's leading home care brands, Kevin Lewis is regarded as both a leader and an inspirational innovator of care and support services for clients wishing to remain in their own homes. Kevin's commitment to providing the best and the most appropriate support to our rapidly growing network of franchisees has never ended. Despite helping over 200 franchisees to grow successful and substantial businesses. What drives Kevin is his genuine desire to help and support people in need and to see franchisees replicate the proven business model to become extremely successful business owners themselves. Kevin created the Caremark brand in 2005 with a genuine desire to transform home care in the UK and make a real difference to those who are in need. With a passionate belief in quality care, which should be affordable and available across all ages, whether paid for privately or by a local authority, Kevin's vision quickly proved incredibly successful. Caremark now has over 125 offices in the UK and abroad, and that number is steadily increasing due to their reputation as a leading home care provider. Caremark is not an ordinary franchise opportunity. Being able to run a successful business while making a real difference in community is a positive, life-changing experience. And many of their franchisees list this as a major factor in their success. That's something which is very true and relevant. So we would like to hear from you, Kevin, if you could just take us through the presentation first.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashita. It's a great pleasure to be here today and to talk about the master franchise opportunity that we have in Caremark for India. So, first of all, this is a very, very unique opportunity. It's about creating a business or replicating a business that makes a huge difference. It's an elite home care service company with a proven business model. That we have been delivering care in the UK for the last 15 years, and we've been delivering care using pretty much the same business model down in Kerala. It's a lucrative business providing high quality care in a very fast growing Indian market. Now, why social care at home? Why such a big opportunity? Well, the Indian population aged 60 and over currently is 100 million. So that population is expected to increase threefold to 300 million in the next 30 years, with 50% approximately of that aged population with chronic ailments. The current Indian home care health market is valued at around about £4.75 billion sterling. And that is expected to increase in the next 15 to 20 years to 75 billion. Care at home is now seen as a very viable alternative. The home care sector, however, in India currently is at a nascent stage. It's very much in its infancy in India. It's fragmented, it's a fragmented market with a lot of disorganized players. And there's an opportunity now to build a brand using the very highest quality care standards. Our model creates a difference. We started in 2005 in the UK. We now have an award-winning network of franchisees across the UK, and we also have franchisees delivering the very highest levels of care in Malta, in the Republic of Ireland, and our office down in Cochin in Kerala. It's a profitable business with huge growth potential, and I would say with potential that potential is unlimited because of the demography and because the size of the market and the number of people requiring care literally is increasing, certainly in the UK, every single day. By the end of this presentation, the market in the UK will be that little bit bigger, and exactly the same in India. There's no difference in any country in the world. So Caremark can make a big difference to people in your area, in your local area, who need care and wish to stay living in their own home. It's an outstanding, it's an incredible business opportunity in a major growth market with priceless personal and social rewards. It's having the opportunity of deriving satisfaction of contributing to a philanthropic initiative. Now, philanthropic, what can that be about? Well, it's about a vision that I had quite a few years ago now for India. In fact, initially it wasn't specifically for India, but it soon became about India. The vision, very basically, is the franchisee and our office in Cochin charges clients who can afford to pay for care, and the franchisee or the office in Cochin makes a profit. As franchisor, we use and will continue to use 100% of all the profits in India to provide care services to the highest standards to anyone who needs care, who wishes to remain living in their own home, but who cannot afford to pay for that care. George, would you like to come in at this point?
Yes, Kevin, yeah. So while Ashita must have introduced Kevin to all our viewers, so I would just like to add a bit more. So Kevin Lewis is one of the most experienced home care franchise experts in the UK. And if you ask me, I would say that Kevin is the King Midas of the home care industry. He has a unique distinction of being successful in franchising in the home care industry, not once, but twice. So not many of you may know that from 1995 to 2001, Kevin had created a network of successful franchise owners in the UK, and he became the market leader. That company was bought over by a PLC. Of course, due to non-compete clauses, Kevin had to wait for 5 years, and then he started over again in 2005 and started the brand Caremark, which is, for all of you to know, is now more successful than the company that he sold years ago. And of course, finally, what I would like to say that he's very passionate to fulfill his India vision of using all profits as a franchisor to provide care to people who cannot afford it in our country, which I think is very unique and much needed. Yeah, Kevin, you can go.
Thank you very much, George. Now, the benefits are, thank you, George. The benefits and rewards of a Caremark franchise. First of all, this really is a once in a lifetime investment opportunity. It's using a proven business model. We could have come into India much easier, much more quickly, with less investment, simply by setting up as an agency, of which there are many in India, and getting on with introducing clients and carers to each other. But we chose not to do that. We are about delivering the very highest standards of care. And in the UK, there is a huge amount of legislation governing how care is delivered to people in their own homes in order to deliver high standards of care, to protect the safety and welfare and quality of life of clients, most many of whom are very vulnerable. So we brought that entire UK model to India. We've trialed it and tested it down in Cochin, and we have had, which is amazing. Well, I don't know if it's amazing, but we have made very few changes to that UK business model and find that it works extremely well in the Indian market. We will provide ongoing support both from our staff in India, as well as our head office team of support personnel in the UK. The market is massive, as I've already mentioned. It's massive across the world, but in India, because you have the second highest population and because of demographics and elderly population increasing, it's a massive, growing, and I would say developing market. And you can make, for the right person, the right individuals, a huge difference to your local community. You'll be working with a trusted international brand. You'll receive comprehensive training that will be in India, and there may be, depending on the terms of any master arrangement, that could include further training in the UK. Now, you don't need a medical or care background, and you will be provided with exclusive territory licensing rights, with the exclusive right to appoint franchisees within your region. And just finally, a few of our franchisees, what they say. This is Robert Johnston in the UK, his words, Caremark, it's an opportunity to run a successful operation whilst fulfilling a social need to a high standard. Robert Johnston is one of our very successful franchisees operating in Cambridge and South Cambridgeshire in the UK. And another franchisee, Sarit Shah, delivering very, very high standards of care, says, it's enabled me to have a greater quality of life whilst providing a vital service to the community. And a quote from my Chief Operating Officer in Cochin, Greg Kyriakos. Greg says, while establishing operations was challenging in Cochin, it is immensely fulfilling to see clients appreciate what Caremark is doing for them. There is a huge need for quality care in India, and we have realized that the Caremark business system can work here too. So, if you're excited to own a management franchise with a philanthropic mission, if you genuinely feel passionate about delivering excellence in care, and if you're ready to commit to operate the Caremark business system, then we would very, very much like to hear from you and discuss in a lot more detail. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this. It is quite elaborative. Certainly, I think the numbers, like you've also said, certainly talks about the kind of opportunity that we have in India today. And, I personally feel that, after this pandemic, after COVID, there are many people, as you know, India is, a developing country. So there are many people from tier 2, tier 3 cities who migrate to tier 1 cities or the better cities. And during this time, there are many of them who have realized that there's a dearth of, elderly care and, home care, which is available in India. Particularly with NRIs, we have realized, particularly in this time, that they feel, somewhere that had this, service been there, they would have been more comfortable sitting at their own homes. Not because we don't have such care available in India, only because even if we do have, they are to some extent untrained and unskilled. I genuinely feel going through, this presentation that if we have a brand that we can depend upon, and if we can, get those support in terms of training the staff, it's the time when people have already realized that, there is a vacuum. There's a virgin market which is, ready to be filled, particularly for, the home care. So yes, I think it's the right time. it should have been there earlier, but I think that's just the right time when we know that, this service is needed. And a company like yours, who's passionate about this, who's already done this, and who's already done this in India as well in one of, its own cities, I think it's going to be incredible. So we can discuss on to, few of the opportunities here. So, like you said that, you would give away licensing rights. So what would you prefer? Would you prefer a master franchisee or a area developer or a multi-unit developer for the brand to partner with?
I'm sorry, Esther, what was the question? What would I?
What would you prefer in terms of finding out a partner here, in terms of a master franchisee or a multi-unit developer or a regional franchisee with probably a state or a couple of states?
Okay. So part of the vision for India, because you have such a huge population, the potential for Caremark in India is 1,000 Caremark offices. Now, it's just phenomenal. The potential in the UK, I always talk about as being phenomenal. In India, it's phenomenal times a very large number. But we have to start. We've proven the model in coaching. And what the most important thing now is to find the right person, somebody who sees this vision, gets this vision, understands the vision, wants to be part of this vision or part of making, this vision become a reality, working with us, partnering with us in India. And whether that be a master franchisee for the whole of India or for a part of India or for one state or part of a state or part of a city or a single unit, it doesn't matter. The vision, it's about, starting small. Even if it was, we were talking to someone that wanted the master rights for the whole of India, they would still need to start with one unit franchise. So it's all about, really, it's about who we're talking to. If they have that passion and share the vision and want to make this happen, working with us, that's the most important thing. The potential is for 1,000 offices. So yeah, easy for me if we meet someone and they want the master franchise rights for the whole of India. Probably carries a certain amount of risk, and we wouldn't expect, I don't think at this stage, for somebody to say, yeah, I want the whole of India. But it does depend on who we're talking to and what, we want to work with them as well as them working with us, to meet their needs, their business needs and their business aspirations, as well as helping us achieve the vision. But I hope that answers your question, Ashita.
Yes, it does. And, related to this, I wanted to ask you something else as well. Like you said in your presentation that, no medical background is needed as such for a person to take up a franchise. Is there any other prerequisite, that you feel, of course, you're looking at, that he should be passionate about, doing these services? And is a prior experience or being into medical aid required to be a franchisee?
No. It's because we provide all the training in how to deliver high standards of care. The franchise owner does not need a medical background or a care background, but they need what I always refer to as personal qualities. They need to share the vision. They need to be passionate. They need to be prepared to put, as I have, blood, sweat and tears into making this business successful. And they need to be able to work with us to a proven business formula. They need to be trustworthy, honest, and probably most importantly of all, they genuinely need to feel care and compassion for their fellow citizens. How can you have to have those personal qualities, Ashita, and ambition.
True.
But no experience of medical or care.
All right. And what, I prefer to ask this from everybody, particularly because I'm like one of them. What is the opportunity there for, women entrepreneurship in here? Would you prefer them over males, or you think, because I feel they're more compassionate, than men, but of course the debate can go on, but that's a personal opinion. So is there any opportunity for them, into the trade more than men?
Yeah, the opportunity is completely equal for men as it is for women, as long as they share, as long as they possess those personal qualities that I've just mentioned. The opportunities are there. I mean, our business is such, certainly in the UK and certainly in Kerala, that most of our care workers seem to be female. George has a lot of knowledge about our operation down in Cochin. Would you like to add anything to that, George?
Yeah, Kevin. So Ashita, what we have noticed is that at least in Cochin, that most of the care workers or the caregivers are female. But we have also seen, males giving, good care, to our clients. So, to answer Kevin's question, what we have seen in Cochin, I think it's the personal qualities that are required. So as a franchise owner, if he's able to follow the Caremark ethos, you attract the right kind of candidates. So we have an entire system, an entire setup and a structure which aids towards giving this kind of high quality care. So while initially it's showing us that women are doing well because they are available in that market, but we have seen men also provide very good care to our clients. So it's an equal opportunity, I would say, like Kevin mentions.
Yeah. Thank you, George.
Sure.
Thank you.
So as far as the opportunity is concerned, it's particularly for elderly care, or it could be for, irrespective of the age, if the care is required, it can be given.
Ashita, it's a very good question. We provide care and support to anyone of any age who needs care and support and wishes to remain living in their own home. So particularly in the UK, we provide care to people of all ages, children to, of course, elderly people. In India, in Cochin, most of our clients would be elderly. Some of them would be a bit younger. I don't believe as yet we are providing any support to children or to families. But it's care and support to anyone of any age who wishes to remain living in their own home.
Sure. Great. So that is, one of the points that actually enhances your, area of work as well. So anybody who needs care, if that's available, then, it's a whole lot of society or, the area which is available to you to provide that. So what would be the, in terms of, so we understand that, it has a lot of, social importance and, a personal interest in being a philanthropic and caregiver, in the society. Have you ever seen, your franchisees, so-called giving importance to, this dilemma with economics, or they're being able to balance out both?
Sure, I'm not sure if I completely understood your question. George, can you help answering that question?
Yeah. So
I didn't quite understand the question.
So Kevin, I will just kind of explain that to you, but I'll also give my view to it. So what she wants to know is when you're running a business, there is profits to be earned. So is there a conflict that you have seen your franchisees in UK, in terms of making money and also giving high quality care? So how do they kind of balance that? Yeah.
Oh, I see. Ashton, thank you for that question. Yeah, when I started delivering care in the UK 33 years ago, and since then I've established two of the most successful franchise networks in the UK over the years. But when I first started, I did ask myself the very same question as you've asked me. And is it like moral and ethical to be making money from providing care to people who need care? Well, the answer I came to quite quickly was actually yes. you know, and what we do, and I believe one of the many reasons we have been so successful over the years is we are not greedy. It's about providing really good value for money. That's providing the highest standards of care, but at a very, very competitive and reasonable fees. So yeah, I mean, the system in the UK is a little bit different in as much as probably 50% of our clients are privately funded and 50% of our clients are funded by the state. In India, it's different because so far all of the care is privately funded. But we're providing a service, a valuable service, and without, you know, we have to pay our staff, our care workers, our office staff who coordinate all the care calls, who provide the training and the skills and everything else. So yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's good. Have I answered your question?
Yes, yes, absolutely, you did. And that, you know, kind of intrigues me to ask you this, that what instigated you to start this? I mean, at the age that you started this, you could have started any other service business. Why this?
Ashita, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question. Please, could you repeat the question?
Sure. So I wanted to ask you what instigated you to start particularly home care? I mean, at that age when you started this, you could have started anything else, any other service business. Why home care?
Okay, so I'm not sure of the question. It was a bad internet connection, I think we have over here. Are you asking me how I got started in home care?
Yes, as to what instigated you to start it. Why home care? Why not something else?
Okay, okay, I like your questions. So 33 years ago is when I got involved in care. I was actually, and this course is in the UK, and I was into small-time property development, but I wanted to get into bigger time property development, so I bought a huge house, and I just fell in love with this property when I first saw it. But the only way I could get finance to buy this property for development was to put together a business plan for converting the property into a care home. So that's what I did. And I converted the property into a care home. And then my first elderly lady moved into the care home. And this lady was 89 years old. Coincidentally, she had the same surname as me, but she had no family. She had no money. She had no friends. She had no one in the world. So I remember vividly the first day she moved in, I just felt I felt the vulnerability of this lady, and I felt a huge amount of responsibility for looking after this lady. And at that point, I thought to myself, well, Kevin, you know, you kind of care about this lady. And that's how it started. And I went on from there. And in 1993, there was a change in UK legislation encouraging people to stay in their own homes instead of moving into institutional care. And so that's when, in 1993, I diversified my business from residential care to care in people's homes. And I love it. And I remember again, in the early days of starting my home care business, I didn't have an accounts team. Everything was just me. And I remember I would send out the invoice to my clients every 2 weeks, and then I'd get the checks coming through the post and cash coming through the post. and I'd open this all so I could do the banking. And every now and then, enclosed with the payment for the invoice from an elderly person would be a little note. And I could tell it was from an elderly client because the writing was not very neat. And they would write things like, typically, Dear Mr. Lewis, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the fabulous care and the difference to my life that you have made. And I would put all the money to one side and I would reread the note and I would say, Kevin, this is what this business is all about. But actually, you make very good profits, but also the satisfaction of making a positive difference to people's lives. I think for me, it's fantastic. Not just for me, for our franchisees in the UK, for my staff, incredible team of staff down in coaching. You know, that's what it's all about. You know, my staff have got great careers, but they know that they are making a difference to the lives of vulnerable people down in coaching. It's amazing. Fantastic, Ashton.
True. No, it's good to know that, because when you know that, you know, from where it started, what was the foundation of this company, it gets more seeded and into partners that you're looking at, and they share the same vision as you do. So I think thanks for sharing that. That was really important for us to know as to what lies in the business field, you know. So that's incredible.
And actually, you know, the staff I have down in, the team I have down in coaching, I just feel so proud of those people. You know, and when I come down to coaching, I visit India when we don't have COVID, 2 or 3 times a year. And I love it. And I always go and visit 1 or 2 or 3 maybe of our clients. And I see the carers, the Caremark carers looking after the clients in their own homes. And I just feel so incredibly proud. You know, all those miles away from little old England, you know, and some fantastic people doing the most fantastic work. It's great. It's fantastic. It's great.
Yeah, true. So it's not just the partners, it's people also in your company who needs to share the same vision. And if they do, then certainly, you know, the work goes at an unimaginable success and competence. So I think, yes, that's a very good thing to get a team on board like that.
It is amazing.
Great. So, you know, in India, I feel, you know, home care facility is going to be one of the top 5 opportunities which are available in India in terms of filling up the void that is available for people to work into this category, because there is nobody else in an organized sector who's providing such care. So are there any aggressive plans in terms of tapping India as a whole, or is there any preference that you would have, since understandably you're already available in Cochin? So is there any preferred market that you would like to start with, or you would like to start at a national scale with probably 1 or different partners?
I think I've kind of alluded to this earlier. It really is about, first of all, it's about finding the right partner in terms of a master franchisee. And it's then working together, and it's agreeing the strategy for building, you know, helping that franchisee build his bit or her business. And it may be, you know, a regional master franchise for Maharashtra, or it could be a regional master franchise for just part of Mumbai or Delhi. Or it could be for the whole of India. It just depends on who we're talking to. It's finding the right person initially is key, and will then determine, through working with that person or people, determining, you know, what strategy they with us would like to adopt to move the whole thing forward.
Sure. So when somebody comes on board, you know, be it master franchisee or a regional franchisee. So what kind of a training do you provide him? And do you provide him the training in India or in UK?
Okay, so that almost certainly there will be 2 weeks residential training in India. Part of that will be in coaching, where we have our company-owned office, because that training will include seeing the existing operation in coaching and how that works. And then if it's a regional master franchise that we have on board, then that would also include some training in the UK. And that training in the UK will involve training in marketing the franchise opportunity, recruiting further sub-franchisees, etc. in India. Yeah, so the initial training for a single unit franchisee would be 2 weeks in India. For a master, it's going to be 2 weeks in India, plus further training, probably another 2 weeks in the UK.
Sure. So the principal franchisee would be training the caregivers, or you would help him do that also?
So part of the training we provide to the franchisee is how to train their care workers. And again, we have quite extensive training programs and training material, which is all part of the model and part of the initial franchise package. And that training material and training programs are constantly being updated in line with changes in legislation, changes in market and best practice and so on. But if I may, I just wanted to mention, now you've mentioned training. So yeah, to answer your question, we will train the franchisee how to train their staff. That's their office staff and of course their care workers. But after I had this vision, after we set up in coaching, I realized that there was another huge benefit to India, people in India, from Caremark. And that is not just people who require care and require that care to be the highest standard, but in order to deliver that care, we need to recruit a large and growing number of care workers to deliver the care. And so these care workers do not need to have any qualifications or any particular skills or experience, because we train them. We teach, as I've already mentioned, we teach the franchisees how to train their staff. And so we can take people, and we do in the UK, who have had very poor or limited education, and we can train them to be care workers. They will have qualifications, they'll have a career, they can move up the ladder. They don't always need to be care workers. There's quite a career structure in Caremark. And again, so I think this is fantastic. It works brilliantly in the UK, and I think in India, particularly for people living outside inside as well, but particularly outside the urban areas, this must be, again, a huge potential benefit and one that I find very, very exciting.
Sure. No, that's very interesting. So in coaching particularly, do you hire students also who would want to work on a part-time basis for that? Because there's some people who have this inclination right from the very beginning. So do you kind of encourage that also?
Some of our coaches will work just for a few hours per week. Many of our care workers will work as live-in care workers, so they live in with the client. Again, the care package that we provide for each client depends on the very individual and specific needs of each client. And the care workers, therefore, can work a few hours a week, or they can work 40 hours a week, or they can live in with the client. It's very flexible. But what we always say to care workers, and we vet all the care workers very, very carefully, and then we train them. But we say to them, if you want to work for Caremark as a care worker, then you have to be committed to doing that work. We're going to vet you, we're going to train you, we're going to support you, we're going to help you and help you develop your career. But what we don't want is people joining us and thinking this is casual work that they can do for a few days this week, a few days next week, and then go off and do something else. Because we want to provide continuity of care for our clients. It's not good for many of our clients to have one care worker this week, somebody different next week, somebody different the week after. You know, it's not good. So we do want our care workers to show that commitment. But it could just be a few hours a week, or it could be a full week.
Sure. Okay, great. So that's also interesting. So all the caregivers do get an ongoing training. I'm sure they would, since they would be taking care of different kind of people with different kind of requirements. So is the training ongoing for them?
Yes, the training is ongoing. In terms of this initial training, that training is induction training about who Caremark are, how we operate, what our standards are, what our ethos is. And then it's about care, and it's about understanding our clients and the nature of our clients, and why is it they need care, how to treat our clients with respect, and respect their dignity, respect they have. All clients have the right to choose for themselves, make their own decisions. And then there's training in moving and handling, training in administering medication, food hygiene, health and safety. There's a lot of training, and it's very, very important. And don't forget, Ashita, I keep referring to our delivery of the very highest standards of care. You only do that through, ensuring that all your staff are fully trained. And of course, we then come back periodically and we do provide refresher training for our staff. So our staff, our aspiration is that all of our care staff are constantly fully trained up in delivering care.
All right. Okay. That's great. That's great. That's helpful. So, in case somebody takes up a multi-unit or a master franchise, he would have the rights to sub-franchise the opportunity as well. So, in that case, would he be responsible for the trainings for the sub-franchisees and the caregivers, or they do it independently?
No, the master franchisee would be responsible for training his sub-franchisees. Of course, we would train the franchisee and we would support and help the master franchisee to deliver the training to his franchisees.
Sure. So, we have a couple of questions. Actually, we're going live on Facebook. So there are a couple of questions that they are asking that, if we are the ones, we are the operator, so we are the ones who are franchisees who would operate it ourselves. Do you prefer those kind of people, or do you prefer people with, the ones who can invest more and work less themselves?
Okay, that's a very good question as well. We would prefer, initially, we would prefer franchise owners who are going to get involved in the business themselves. And I think this is important because, and particularly if they're then going to go on to recruit their own or develop their own network of franchisees, they need to understand firsthand how the Caremark model works. How we do. They need to experience all of that. So yeah, I think that's very, very important. It might exclude a number of people that would otherwise make fantastic, franchise partners. But I think it's very, very important that they have the commitment, or show the commitment to be totally involved in the Caremark business in the early days. As the business grows, then the business requires the franchisee to recruit more staff to work in the office, to continue to managing the office and growing that office. And there comes a point where the franchisee can take more time away from the office to do other things. But initially, it's requires a lot of hard work. We're only talking about, we only want people to come into this who are going to be successful. And to be successful requires a lot of hard work to get this business off its feet, if you like.
Sure. True that. It's something which is absolutely required. And so there's one more question. I'm not too sure if you worked that out, that, they say that if you're short of money, would you help us get some finances done for ourselves? I mean, the franchisees, would you help them in securing finance from some financial institutions, or give them some relaxation in case you feel that, they are worth offering that?
Yeah, we would certainly, with the first franchisee or master franchisee, we will help them financially, because all I need is my costs covered. So for the first franchisee, they will pay us a sum of money, which will cover our legal fees to a certain extent. It will cover the initial software and uniforms and marketing materials and promotional materials and so on, and things like that. But we're not charging a license fee on top of that. We're trying to encourage the right people or person to join us in this very exciting venture. So we don't want we don't want to exclude people just because. I'm not sure if I'm giving misleading information now. People need to invest in this business, and they need to have the money to invest in this business. What I'm saying is that we will help in terms of the initial fee they pay us, but then they have their operating costs, their working capital on top of that, which they will need to fund. Albeit we will help them through introduction to lenders in India. I hope that helps to answer that question, Ashita.
Yes, it did. So, we are actually nearing the completion of the webinar, and we've been answered most of the queries so far. So wanted to understand from you that, initially, when you had partners on board, now franchisees are typically entrepreneurs, and what you think for them, maybe, they have a different opinion for themselves. So how have you been able to maintain a balance in between yourself and your franchisees? Because franchise relationship is a big part when it comes to, growing the company, or taking care of, making sure that the quality is being taken care of till the last mile. So how do you manage that relationship with your franchisees?
So I don't know whether I'll be able to answer it completely, because I'm answering for Kevin. But what I can do tell you is that in UK it's a franchise network of 125 individual franchisees. Some of them are multi-unit owners. I personally have attended Caremark conferences in the UK. So what Kevin does is once in a year he brings all the franchisees together and they share their successes and what they've learned from the entire system. So that's a very positive atmosphere, which I have witnessed myself a couple of times. And that's, he brings everyone together. Of course, individual franchisees anywhere would have their own mind. For example, if I become a franchisee somewhere, I have my own thoughts of, how things would be done. So there is an entire network that Kevin has in the UK with regional franchise managers who are in constant touch with these franchisees and giving them support. So that's the network over there. So there's a national franchise manager, the regional franchise manager, and they are in touch with the franchisees, and that's how the network is maintained. Yeah, Kevin, can you so I answered for you, I think, but you can answer it better.
Yeah, I do apologize. My internet connection went down, so I'm just back. So I don't know what the question was even.
Sure. And don't be bothered about that. We live in a new virtual world now, so everybody knows there are hiccups in it. So please relax about that. So I wanted to understand, how do you manage franchise relationships? Since you already have about 126 of them, and yourself, you're also an entrepreneur, and those people are also individual entrepreneurs. How do you kind of manage that? Because sometimes they would have different opinion, you would have a different opinion. How do you make sure that everybody looks into the same direction always?
Okay, another good question, Ashita. We have a huge support team, field-based support team, as well as office support team, who are constantly in touch with our franchisees. So they will be on the phone at least every week. In the early days, probably every day of the week. Nowadays, there's a lot of video conference calls, meeting in the franchisee's office at least once a month, again, more frequently in the early days of a franchisee. And some of those visits to the franchise, or regular visits to the franchisee, include carrying out full inspections of the franchisee's business. And we're inspecting to ensure compliance with the Caremark model, the operating procedures and processes. And we also carry out financial audits of the franchisee's business. And again, we believe that this monitoring and support is particularly important in our business, in a care business, because our business is unique. We're not selling, white goods for the kitchen, so that if the dishwasher doesn't work, we'll put another dishwasher on the lorry tomorrow. Our business is about providing a valuable service for most of our clients who are vulnerable, and we have to get it right. And so, partly we're carrying out these routine, regular inspections on franchisees' office to ensure that the high standards of care that Caremark stands for are constantly being delivered. So I hope that answers your question. A lot of input, interaction, if you like, and support from my head office staff.
Great.
Oh,
yes.
And I should mention also, in addition to all the visits and the interaction and the phone calls, we hold regular regional meetings with our franchisees. We hold different events throughout the year. We have an annual conference every year, twice a year. There's a lot of meetings, a lot of interaction, a lot of feedback. Initially in the UK, Caremark was just me with one office. Now we have, approaching 130 offices in 4 countries. And amongst the franchisee network, there is a huge number of years now of experience in Caremark of delivering care. So we want the feedback as franchisor. We want the feedback from our franchisees, and that feedback we use to constantly improve the model, the Caremark model. And so we just get better and stronger all the time.
Sure. No, that's really good, really interesting.
I hope I have answered your question again.
Yes, absolutely. And so I would, certainly, for us, because it's a very interesting concept. It's the concept which is required today, for our elderly population for sure, but otherwise also to the people who need care, at their homes, because sometimes people who can take care of them are not available because of some professional reasons that they're engaged in. So I think it's an apt opportunity, and I would request all our visitors, in case you have any other queries, you can reach out to Caremark directly. They're exhibiting in the show, so you can reach out to them. In case you have any query that you would want to write to us, please do so. We will forward it to them. And thank you so much, Kevin, George. It was lovely having you with us. And thank you for elaborating an opportunity which is the need of the hour today. And thank you so much for your time.